There was a lot of talk about change at the Republican convention, but there wasn't much talk about the middle class, about working men and women. Do we have any working men and women here today? What do we do up on the podium? Organized labor. Teachers. Construction trade. You are here today because you are America. And what we have seen over the last 8 years is a contempt for the middle class. There are a lot of issues. That will be very, very fully aired about how the middle class is worse off today than it has ever been in the last decade. Earning less insurance coverage, in schools like this one, fewer resources for our teachers and classrooms. Across the board, the quality of life in this country is less than what it was 8 years ago. 8 years is enough.
The stakes are huge. This is a defining moment in our country's history. Just pick up the paper this morning. The highest unemployment rate in 5 years. 7,000 foreclosures a day, up from 5,000 just a few short months ago. We desperately need change. And as some of the prior speakers have said, the Republicans didn't talk about the middle class or the economy in their convention because they don't have anything to tell the middle class. There was only one candidate that will give a tax break to senior citizens, $50,000 or less, and his name is Barack Obama. For those 7 million senior citizens who will get a tax break up to $1,400, John McCain will keep their taxes, even if they are $50,000 or less. There is only one candidate that will fix the prescription drug plan. His name is Barack Obama and not John McCain. There is only one candidate that will give middle-class taxpayers a break of up to 5%. His name is Barack Obama. John McCain will give them no relief with his economic plan. And lastly, there is only one candidate that will provide 34 million Americans with health insurance coverage by 2013. His name is Barack Obama, and John McCain will not provide that relief.
Today, it all begins. In Denver, we made history, but we will only make history in November if we now rally people, the state, the nation, to bring the change that we need. We cannot stand more of the same. Yesterday, unemployment jumped to 6.1%, 8 months in a row of lost jobs. John McCain, Sarah Palin want to make Bush's economic policies permanent, even bigger tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy, even bigger subsidies for the oil companies. The same health care and energy policy, and God help us if this happens. Today, more and more middle-class families are struggling in a weakening economy that often fails them, and they feel like they're out there on their own. But when we do elect Barack Obama, we will have the opportunity to put the middle class front and center. And we will put labor front and center, which helps us to build a middle class in this country. A new compact with people where hard work means progress. It does mean equal pay for equal work, making health care affordable, restoring our place in the world, ending the Iraq War responsibly, and making America energy independent. Change gives us the power to make Barack Obama President of the United States and Joe Biden the Vice President. But have no illusions. It is going to be a tough battle. Republicans will do everything that they can to hold on to power. So, we are going to organize. We are going to work with energy, with imagination, and with boldness in this 60 days. We are going to put the other side on the defensive. We are going to expose this nation to the real price of a third Bush term.
This is, and I've said this for 30 years, campaigns are never about those of us on this stage. Campaigns are always about you and the people out in this room. That's what campaigns are about. That's what elections are about. It stung me in a way that Republican convention kept on talking about John McCain's biography, as if that were the most important issue in his campaign. It's not about, biographies are interesting, but this campaign is not about John McCain. It's about that person without a job today, that family without health care, that family that worries about the education of their children. It's about a veteran who's worried about whether or not he's going to get better again. That's what the elections are about. They're not about John McCain. They're not about Sarah Palin. They're about Americans who worry every day about their kids and their future. That's what's at stake.
I think it was Don that said that the Republicans gathered in Minneapolis. Where were they? And, well, you know, I always believe that it's great to be graceful and respectful. And after all, they went there to their convention and they decided they were going to have a marriage and a divorce at the same time. Amazing, isn't it? They decided, rightfully so, in John McCain's choice of Sarah Palin, that they were going to marry their base. Oh, no, please, Grace. They were going to marry that wing of the Republican Party that is vested in those values. And I guess in the vetting process and in making these decisions, and as Don said, their willingness to adopt change, we should applaud them for 24 years after Geraldine Ferraro of making a decision along those lines. We should be that they are making steps. We'd like to point out that we had someone running for President of the United States. Grace. And so they had this marriage because John McCain, who had to make himself over several times, had to go through this marriage because apparently one or maybe two of his other choices would have caused people to walk out of the convention. So they had this marriage. And you got to imagine what this vetting process is like. And you got to give them credit, at least on two fronts. In this vetting process, the decision had to be made. Number one, she is a better shot than Dick Cheney. And she can field dress a moose. Now, with respect to the other criteria, we'll let the American public decide on that as they go forward, but he also had to have a divorce. John McCain then the next night divorced himself from George Bush in the last 8 years. But we're not going to let that happen because, as everyone has said, we've got a lot of truth to tell about this campaign.
I'll say one quick thing, which I wasn't going to say, but I will. It is Jim's opponent who just yesterday said, when asked about Sarah Palin being on the ticket with John McCain, how that would fly in Connecticut. And he said that Connecticut voters will be happy just because there is a woman on the ticket. My friends, demeaning to women. equal pay for equal work. When you say no to health insurance for children, when you will privatize Social Security, women will know who to vote for in November. Jim Hines, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden.
The word Barak in the ancient languages means blessing. And I'm standing here as an elder in the Presbyterian Church to tell you that the Scriptures show us very clearly that we can embrace a blessing or we can waste a blessing. And though our mission this year is sacred and noble, we can waste this blessing. Because although our mission is sacred and noble, you all know that this is boots on the ground, this is registration, this is getting people out, this is phone call after phone call until your ears are bleeding. But this is what we must do. Because on November 5th, we will all wake up and we will say, because of that work we did, we have embraced this blessing. And we will say to people all over this country, because of us, we are Americans and we are back.
When I heard this Sarah Palin, and people talk about how she's going to bring a fresh change to Washington. Well, let me tell you, if all you do is attack, believe me, we're used to that in Washington. There's nothing fresh about Sarah Palin. We've had that kind of politics, and we're tired of it. We're going to stop it finally. So Sarah Palin, we're going to send you back to Alaska. Here. That's what you're going to do.
I want to close by just mentioning an issue that I think is about the most important there is. And it was first raised as a presidential candidate by one of the great senators in United States history, who happens to be a senator from Connecticut, Christopher Dunn. The issue that he raised is respect for the law, respect for the Constitution of the United States of America. This administration, and you may think I am exaggerating, but let me tell you, I am being very careful with my words. This administration is the most lawless in the United States. The most law-breaking of any administration, any presidency we have ever seen. There's no more serious issue today than respect for the law and respect for the Constitution and respect for the Supreme Court. And if we give John McCain the opportunity to appoint 2 or 3 justices to the Supreme Court, we will regret it. Not just for the next few years, not just for the remainder of his presidency, not just for the remainder of the decade, but for decades to come. We will see warrantless searches, restrictions on a woman's right to choose. We will see a cutback in respect for individual liberties. The United States Supreme Court deserves better than a Republican administration and a continuation of these last 8 years.
There was a speaker at the Republican convention who kept on talking about putting country over party. Well, let me tell you something. I've sat and listened and have worked over the last 8 years for a good part of it in the minority in the United States Senate. When I heard those words about country over party, I wondered where those words were when we were trying to get the S-chip program done for America's kids. Where was country over party? When we tried to do something about the housing issue, where was country over party when they fought tooth and nail? And made a difference our folks to get the job done. When we stood up and tried to have body armor for those troops serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, where was country over party? When our veterans coming home weren't getting help, where was country over party? When you spend $2 billion every week in Iraq, where was country over party in this country? When you step all over the Constitution of the United States, where was country over party? It was always party over country.
And so, my fellow Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, and those that believe in taking this country in a new direction and establishing ourselves again as the great possibility for the world, roll up your sleeves. Get out there and begin the work that you know you need, knows to be done. John McCain ended his speech by saying, fight, 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 fight.